Hey, we back with another one. It's your favorite one, not the other one. We got a different type of video tonight. Let's jump straight into it.
Yeah, wow. This is a very interesting time to look to the stars, my friend.
Hanging over the meeting, a shocking new report that details a catastrophic decline in wildlife.
Populations are plummeting.
The organisation's Living Planet report has revealed that global wildlife numbers have shrunk by an average of 73% in the last 50 years.
On to China. Coastal cities like Panjin and Yingkou in Liaoning province and Tangshan in Hebei province were deluged as a result of high tides, flooding homes and vehicles in the area since the start of this week, and things kept getting worse. This unforeseen extreme weather event left much of the East Coast underwater as experts looked for answers. What experts say is that in the absence of obvious wind and waves, a sudden increase in water levels over such a large area has never been recorded either domestically or internationally. And what was different, basically, was that the event was strong and sustained, with water levels staying about 1 meter above normal for more than 20 hours, with several tide gauge stations in Liaoning reporting record-breaking levels. But the impact was also felt in many other parts of the country. Reverse flows of seawater surged down the coast of the Yellow Sea in Jiangsu province, as well as the East China Sea coast in southeastern Fujian province. According to an expert from the Ministry of Natural Resources, the unusual...
I'm terrified of floods. Like big bodies of water, I'm not fucking with them. Terrified.
Usual rise in water levels was due to mainly a combination of storm surge oscillations.
快点起来，赶紧的啊！屋里全进水了，呜呜的上的水。你看这车，都灌了啊！二季度都灌了。
were deluged by high tides, flooding homes and vehicles in the area since the start of this week, and this has of course kept rising. Now, this unforeseen extreme weather event left much of the east coast underwater, as experts are looking for answers.
The oscillation started in Bohai Bay on October 19, propagating southward to Shandong and then rebounding back to Liaoning, where it met the high tide, leading to a seawater backflow phenomenon. And this serves as a reminder to us in the context of global climate anomalies. Extreme weather events may arrive quietly without any warning, and that we need more research on new kinds of natural disasters.
From the grassy fields of the Serengeti to the urban jungles of the San Francisco Bay Area, creatures big and small across the globe are under threat. New numbers show how wildlife populations have plunged 73% in just half a century.
That means in just my lifetime, 50 years, we've seen a decline of 73% in the average size of these wildlife populations.
And according to the charity the WWF, the loss of natural spaces globally over the last 50 years has caused wildlife populations from the poles to the tropics to shrink by an average of 73%.
This isn't just a sad story about the loss of wildlife. This has profound consequences for you and I. We know with having lost so many wild places...
That sound did not... It did not seem like that sound was supposed to come from that animal.
But this is putting many ecosystems really on the brink. And many of them, from the Amazon through to our coral reef system, are really on the edge of very dangerous tipping points.
Last year, tropical rainforest was destroyed at a rate of 10 football pitches a minute, often for agriculture. Losing swathes of forest here changes patterns of rainfall, causing droughts that actually make it harder to grow food. Intact tropical forest supports a vast array of wildlife, but it also helps fight climate change. So wild spaces aren't just homes for wildlife, scientists say. They're the planet's life support system.
What if I told you that you could block all ads or get paid to see them? My name's Brandon Moore. I'm an engineer here at Pi, and
when we are changing things so rapidly, we unravel those connections. Extinction happens in a heartbeat.
Elephants in tropical forests, hawksbill sea turtles off the Great Barrier Reef, even migrating birds passing through Milpitas. The habitat loss is putting many ecosystems on the brink and threatening the planet's biodiversity.
With climate change, these ecosystems are being impacted. These species are being impacted often in a negative way. We worry that we've seen the numbers of most birds decline over the past few decades, and we increasingly worry that we're going to lose these species.
In California, the number of winter-run Chinook salmon dropped 88% since 1970.
Conservationists say protecting the planet's wildlife is an urgent wake-up call no one should ignore. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Now finally, France has had some really dramatic weather. Waves have been crashing onto the streets in the western city of Saint-Malo, drenching people watching on. Social media videos showed people laughing and cheering.
Waves crashed on a street in western French city of Saint-Malo, drenching onlookers and cars as France's weather service forecasted strong wave warnings in much of the region. The weather service, Meteo France, placed 6 departments in western France on yellow alert, the third highest level of warning for strong waves. The local authorities have advised against staying close to the waves.
Viens la voiture. Viens la voiture.
Rivers burst their banks, roads and railway tracks were covered with muddy water. More than 6 months of rain fell in 2 days. The regions hit by this week's torrential rains are rarely flooded. The water is now receding, but residents are still stunned by the amounts of rain that fell in their town and the risks they faced only hours ago.
Moving on, global warming is leading to extreme climate events. It's code red for humanity. Extreme weather events are creating havoc. Now our world is witnessing severe flooding from heavy rains. Now here is a roundup from across the world. The floodwaters gushed down the street in a town in New Mexico after heavy rainfall. A street in Roswell turned into a river after torrential rains pummeled eastern New Mexico overnight. According to the New Mexico National Guard, quoted by the U.S. media, 1 person died and hundreds were rescued. A flash flood warning for New Mexico was issued on Sunday by the National Weather Service.
Wow. I guess I'm not.
Heavy rains from an atmospheric river prompted an emergency response in West Vancouver. Roads have been covered in muddy water with debris flowing down various streets. The North Shore Emergency Management altered the population that rainfall would continue. And they have alerted them and urged people to avoid trails, forested areas, and steep slopes. According to local media, Environment Canada forecasts up to 150 millimeters of rain near Vancouver Island's coast and up to 250 millimeters in mountainous areas. Moving to Italy, residents of Licata in Sicily woke up counting the damage from the heavy rainfall that caused severe flooding and landslides. As the weather conditions were improving, residents started to tidy up their houses and streets while the damage count began.
Scientists are expecting to see more solar storms now that the sun has reached the peak of its 11-year solar cycle. Let's go live to ANU astrophysicist and cosmologist, Dr. Brad Tucker. Brad, thanks for your time. What happens at this phase, this part of this, the 11-year sun cycle?
Yeah, so during the 11 years, the sun essentially flips its magnetic pole. So, on Earth, we have a north and south pole. The sun has the same thing, but over 11 years, this reverse happens. And as this reverse happens, you get the most energy flowing through, charging really the atmosphere or the photosphere, the gas of the sun. And when that does, the sun does these eruptions, these little blips that you're kind of seeing on the surface of your screen now. And on the surface of the sun, you get all of these pockets. So it's not just one area that does an eruption, it's multiple areas that do an eruption. So during the peak solar cycle, you're not just having bigger eruptions at an individual time, you're having more of them and more frequent. And as that energy, as that gas leaves the sun, it travels through space and sometimes hits the Earth.
Crazy video. So how do you feel about global warming? Do you think it can be reversed, or is it inevitable? Like, it's the damage has been done, we can't go back. Let me know how you feel below in the comments, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.